Ever get that feeling like you hang out with someone and on the surface, everything seems okay,
Yeah,
maybe even have some fun. But then afterward, you just feel completely drained.
totally. Like you put so much energy into it, but you get almost nothing back. It's almost like a hollow feeling.
Right. And it's not always the obviously toxic people either. Sometimes it's people who seem really great or who you've known forever. But then you start noticing these little patterns, these things that feel a bit off, and you make excuses for them, trying to see the best in them. But then eventually you realize you're exhausted, just emotionally wiped.
It's like our brains try so hard to hold on to those connections, even when they might not be the healthiest for us.
Yeah.
We give people the benefit of the doubt, especially those we care about, even when our gut is telling us something's not quite right.
Yeah, and I think those gut feelings are there for a reason, right? We're talking about those subtle signs, the ones that make you question if a friendship is truly genuine and supportive. We really want to help you, and me too, honestly. Trust those instincts and create healthier relationships.
It's all about self-awareness, recognizing those patterns that might be holding you back from having those fulfilling, supportive friendships that we all deserve.
Let's start with a really common one.
Hmm.
Those friends who only pop up when they need something. It's like they reappear out of thin air, all friendly and wanting to catch up, and then boom, they hit you with a favor.
It's like clockwork. You start to feel like you're more valuable to them for what you can give them rather than who you are, whether they need help moving or to borrow money or want advice about something or just constant reassurance. It's always something.
And it's tricky because you want to be helpful, right? You think, they must really trust me to ask, or maybe they're in a tough spot. But then you realize it's always a tough spot for them. And when you're going through something, they're nowhere to be found. I heard this story about a guy whose friend would only call when his girlfriend broke up with him. At first, he felt like he was a good friend, lending an ear. But then he realized the friend never actually asked how he was doing.
It's like all take and no give, a one-way street. True friendships have that give and take, that genuine interest in each other's lives. Real friends check in just because they care, not because they need something.
It makes a difference when someone reaches out just to say, hey, or share a funny story, or just to see how you are. You can tell it's genuine, and it feels good.
And on the flip side, you have the friend who's completely MIA when you need support. And that can be really tough.
Oh, tell me about it. You're going through a breakup, dealing with loss, or struggling with your mental health, and that friend who you thought would be there for you, gone. They don't answer messages, calls go straight to voicemail, or maybe they give you a quick thinking of you with zero follow-up.
It's like a punch in the gut, especially when you remember all the times you were there for them. You were the one offering support, answering those late night calls, bringing over comfort food, the whole 9 yards. And then when the tables are turned, nothing. It makes you question if the friendship was ever real. It really shows a lack of emotional depth, an unwillingness, or maybe an inability to be there for someone when things get tough. It's like their friendship only exists when things are good.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Conditional friendship. Real support needs emotional maturity and genuine care. And often, those are the things missing in these types of friendships. I remember reading a story about someone who was actually pushed away by their friends when they were struggling with depression. Their friends told them they were bringing everyone down. It's heartbreaking to think about.
It really highlights how different it is when a real friend shows up, even in small ways. A text saying they're thinking of you, or dropping off a meal, or even just being there quietly. It lets you know you're not alone, even if they don't have all the answers.
Sometimes just being there is the most powerful thing you can do for someone. You don't need to solve their problems. Just show up. Those friends who disappear during tough times, well, they often just aren't capable of that, or they're unwilling to. Okay, here's another sneaky one. When someone seems to bond with you, mainly by gossiping about other people, at first, it can feel like you're in on a secret, sharing something special.
Yeah, it creates that illusion of being close, like you have this inside scoop together.
But then you start to wonder, well, if they're talking about other people with me, what are they saying about me when I'm not around? And that's a really unsettling thought.
And for good reason. When gossip is the foundation of a bond, you're not really building a genuine friendship. It's more like an alliance, and a pretty shaky one at that. It makes you wonder if the friendship is actually about you as people or just about having someone to gossip with.
It's like walking on eggshells, always worried you'll be the next target. I remember someone telling me about a friend who loved to share all the juicy gossip about their mutual friends. It made this person feel special, like they were trusted. But then she found out her own secrets were being spread around too. It was a major breach of trust.
It's a classic example of how gossip-based connections are often more about using people than caring about them. They're not about respect or loyalty. They're about having the hottest information.
And that's so different from those solid, dependable friends, the ones who would never trash talk you behind your back, but the ones who would actually stick up for you when you're not there. That's real loyalty.
Loyalty is so important, and it goes both ways. Real friends, keep your secrets, and don't join in when others are putting you down.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. How about that sinking feeling you get when you share some exciting news, something you're really proud of, and your friend just doesn't seem to care?
Ah, yes. The art of dampening someone's joy. It's like you land an amazing job, get into your dream school, achieve a huge personal goal, whatever it is, you're thrilled. But instead of, woohoo, that's awesome,
Yeah.
you get a half-hearted, oh, that's nice, I guess.
Right. Or the backhanded, must be nice. It just takes all the wind out of your sails.
Yeah.
I even heard about someone who told their friend they got accepted to grad school. And the friend said, really, I didn't think you were smart enough for that. I mean, how do you even respond to that?
That's just brutal. And it stings because naturally when something good happens, we want to share that with our friends. But when they react negatively or even with just indifference, it makes you feel unseen and unsupported. Often it boils down to insecurity on their end. Your success might accidentally highlight their own perceived shortcomings.
It's like they want to keep you in this box, don't get too big for your britches. But real friends are your biggest cheerleaders. They genuinely celebrate your wins, they're excited for you, and they make you feel even better about your achievements.
Exactly. You want that contagious enthusiasm, the I knew you could do it kind of energy. The friends who will brag about you to anyone who will listen, who are almost as excited as you are because they know what it means to you.
Totally. Real friends, they feel like they won too when you succeed. It's a shared joy, not a competition.
Right. In a genuine friendship, you're not rivals, you're teammates.
Right.
There's no score to keep.
Now, for a tricky one, because it often comes disguised as a joke. The friend who's always kind of critical of you, but they brush it off as just kidding.
Yeah, the classic just kidding, but not really defense. It's like they make these little digs about your looks or your decisions or even your personality disguised as jokes. But it leaves you feeling hurt and confused, and if you call them out, you're the one being sensitive.
Totally. You could be feeling great in a new outfit, and they'll say something like, wow, that's a look. What, did you raid your grandma's closet or something? And then they laugh it off, leaving you wondering if they were actually serious.
And if you show any hint of being upset, it's all, relax, I was just joking, lighten up. It's totally gaslighting.
It is. And it puts you on edge constantly, never knowing if they're being sincere or just trying to get a dig in. It chips away at your confidence over time, and you start to second guess yourself. I saw someone online talking about their best friend who would constantly make these jokes about how she'd never find a partner because she was too focused on her career. And she would just shrug it off like it was nothing. But when those jokes keep coming, they start to hurt.
Absolutely. And it's different from the playful teasing you have with real friends. That's warm and affectionate and comes from a place of love and understanding. You know the boundaries, and no one gets hurt. But with these so-called friends, there's an edge to their jokes. Like they're trying to put you down or keep you from being too confident.
It's like deep down, they don't want you to outgrow them, so they try to keep you in check with these little digs disguised as humor.
You're right on the money. A real friend is secure enough in themselves that they don't need to cut you down to feel good. Their jokes come from a genuine place of connection, not from a place of insecurity or the need to make themselves feel superior.
Okay, how about this one? Inconsistent behavior. You know the type, super close one day, barely know you the next.
Oh, the hot and cold friend. It's exhausting. You never know which version of them you're going to get.
It's so confusing. 1 minute they're your bestie, tagging you in everything online, making plans, calling you their soulmate, and then the next, they're hanging out with a different crowd and you're invisible. You start questioning everything like, what did I do? It messes with your head.
It really comes down to them not being truly invested in the friendship. It's all very situational. Their energy towards you is based on what they need in that moment. And their behavior can change on a dime depending on who else is around.
It's like they only need you when it's convenient for them. I read a comment online from someone who said their friend was only nice when no one else was around. If someone they thought was cooler showed up, that was it. They were ignored. That's a huge red flag.
Huge. Real friends are consistent. Sure, everyone has off days, but a true friend is a true friend no matter who else is in the room. You should never feel like an afterthought or like your value depends on who else is available.
If someone's loyalty and affection have so many conditions, was it ever real in the first place?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Real friendship is about consistency, mutual respect, and genuine care, not playing games or constantly shifting alliances based on convenience or social status.
Let's talk about that sinking feeling you get when you realize you're always the one reaching out. You always send the first text, suggest hanging out, put in all the effort.
It's the one-sided friendship trap. It happens so gradually that you might not even realize it at first. But at some point, it hits you. You're always the one doing the heavy lifting. You reach out, they respond. Sometimes they seem really into it, but the initial effort always comes from you.
And you can't help but wonder, if I just stopped, would they ever contact me? It's like you're carrying the entire weight of the friendship on your shoulders. I know life gets busy, and not everyone is great at reaching out first, but if it's constant, it tells you something. Someone even joked online that they stopped texting first just to see what would happen, and guess what? Months of radio silence. Kind of funny, but also kind of sad, right?
It really exposes a lack of investment on their end. If they aren't making an effort to connect, it means the friendship isn't really a priority for them. They're happy to hang out when you make it happen, but they're not invested enough to make it happen themselves.
Exactly. Real friends, even if they're not great at initiating, will still check in sometimes. They'll send you a random message, share something they think you'd like, or just make some effort to stay connected. You don't always have to be the one to spark the conversation.
You want to feel like the connection is mutual, that you both want to be in each other's lives.
Okay, this is another big one. The friend who is always canceling plans, often at the last minute.
The perpetually flaky friend. They agree to hang out, seemingly excited about it, and then something always comes up. It's frustrating, especially when you've gotten all excited, rearranged your schedule, and maybe even planned your outfit.
All the mental prep that goes into it. And then you get that text, hey, so sorry, something came up, rain check. Sometimes it's a few hours beforehand. Sometimes it's literally as you're walking out the door. I heard about one person who got the cancellation text as they were walking into the restaurant.
It's just so disrespectful of your time and effort. And often, they agree to plans without ever really intending to follow through. And it's not always that they're legitimately busy. Sometimes it just means they don't see hanging out with you as a priority, and they figure they can back out later.
And it's not just the one time, right? It's the pattern that wears you down. You start to hesitate making plans with them, and it makes you feel like your time isn't important to them. I remember reading about someone whose friend canceled on them 7 times in a row, always some excuse, and they finally said, you know what, I'm tired. Too tired of this friendship. Perfect response.
Exactly. A real friend values your time. They make an effort to keep their commitments, and if they genuinely can't make it, they give you as much notice as possible.
All right, let's talk about the friend who seems to be constantly competing with you instead of supporting you.
Oh, the one-upper. They always have to have a better story, a bigger achievement, a more impressive experience. It's like every conversation becomes a subtle one-upmanship contest.
You get a raise, and they just casually mention they got a promotion and didn't even have to try. You start a new workout routine, and they're already training for a marathon. It just sucks the joy out of sharing your accomplishments. And sometimes it's not even outright one-upping. It's this subtle shift in energy, a backhanded compliment that makes you feel like you're not quite good enough.
It takes away from that safe, supportive space that friendships are supposed to be. It feels like you're constantly being judged and compared, not celebrated for who you are and what you've accomplished.
It's like friendship scorekeeping, which is the total opposite of what it should be. Someone online said that whenever they shared something exciting, their friend would go silent or change the subject. But when she had news, it was a huge deal. It made her feel like she was just an audience member in her own life.
Real friends are your biggest fans. They're thrilled for you when you succeed. Your wins are their wins too. They don't see your success as a threat. It inspires them.
Right, and they celebrate with you like they mean it. That's true friendship.
Exactly. With a real friend, there's no scoreboard, you're on the same team.
Now this one can be uncomfortable, but it's definitely a red flag. The friend who gets jealous and possessive when you have other relationships.
The friend who wants to be the only friend. They might make snide remarks, guilt trip you for spending time with other people, or even try to sabotage your other friendships.
Oh, you know the ones. You're hanging out with them a lot lately, said with that certain tone of voice. Or the classic, didn't realize I was so easily replaced. It's so awkward, and you feel like you have to tiptoe around their feelings about who you're spending time with. I even heard about a so-called best friend who completely ghosted someone because they made a new friend at work. Went as far as to tell everyone the new friend was fake.
It all comes down to insecurity and a misunderstanding of healthy boundaries. They think friendship is like a romantic relationship where they need to be the only one. But real friends are happy when you have other connections. They get that your life is bigger than just them.
Right. It's not like you only have a certain amount of friendship to give out, and if you're giving it to other people, it takes away from them. Healthy friends actually encourage those connections. They understand you can have multiple meaningful relationships without it diminishing your bond.
A true friend is genuinely curious about the other people in your life. They're not threatened by them. They're actually excited to meet them and learn more about them.
Let's talk about another energy drainer. The friend who just doesn't get it when you open up to them, who shows zero empathy when you're vulnerable.
This one is crucial. When you're down, struggling with something, and you confide in a real friend will meet you with understanding and compassion. But someone who lacks empathy will shut you down, make it about them, or just be completely clueless about what you're going through.
Right. You pour your heart out about a tough breakup, family issues, whatever it is, and instead of a hug or a listening ear, you get, well, everyone goes through stuff, or don't be so dramatic, or even worse, they immediately start talking about their own problems. It's like your feelings are invisible to them.
I saw someone online say that when they told their friend they were feeling anxious, the friend was like, come on, you don't have any real problems.
It's invalidating and hurtful and makes you never want to open up to them again. True empathy means listening, acknowledging another person's pain, and offering support without judgment.
Right, you're not looking for them to fix it. You just want to feel heard and understood.
Real friends might not have all the answers, but they listen with their hearts. They let you know you're not alone. And that's often more powerful than any advice they could give.
Okay, how about this one? The friend who constantly pressures you to do things you're not comfortable with. This is all about boundaries, and a real friend will respect yours. They'd never intentionally push you into situations where you feel unsafe or pressured, but a friend who doesn't have your best interests at heart might ignore your no and try to wear you down.
The classic peer pressure stuff, right? You don't want another drink, you're boring. You hesitate to go out with a certain group, you're uptight, you're concerned about safety, you're overreacting. I remember someone sharing a story about a friend who kept inviting them to parties, even though they knew this person had really bad social anxiety. When she tried to explain how uncomfortable she felt, the friend laughed and told her she needed to loosen up.
That's not okay. It shows a total disregard for your boundaries and your feelings. Real friends get it. They respect your no without you having to give a whole explanation. They value your company, even if it means doing something different or skipping certain activities.
It's like they want to mold you into what they want you to be, instead of accepting you for who you are.
And that's not what friendship is about.
Right.
Real friends celebrate your individuality and encourage you to be true to yourself, even if it means saying no sometimes.
Now, imagine you're not around, and someone starts criticizing you, spreading rumors. How do you think a real friend would react compared to a fake friend?
That's the loyalty test. A real friend has your back even when you're not there. They'll shut it down, challenge the gossip, or at least refuse to participate. They're not afraid to stand up for you.
They're the ones who say, hey, that's not cool. They're not even here to defend themselves. Or they point out how wrong the rumors are, or they just don't engage in the negativity. But a fake friend, they stay silent to avoid conflict. Or even worse, they join in just to fit in. I saw someone online talking about how their friend just sat there while a group of people were basically trash-talking them at a party. And when she asked her about it later, the friend said she didn't want to cause a scene.
Ouch. Staying silent in that situation speaks volumes. It shows they care more about being liked by the group than about being a true friend to you. It's a lack of loyalty, plain and simple.
It's one of those moments when you realize someone you thought was on your side isn't actually there for you when it counts. It's painful, but at least it helps you see the friendship for what it really is. Real friends would rather risk being unpopular than betray your trust.
That's it. A true friend has the courage to speak up, even when it's not easy.
Let's talk about the friend who's always keeping score, remembering every favor they've done for you and every mistake you've ever made.
The friendship accountant. They treat the relationship like a transaction, keeping track of every little thing. You help them move once. They'll never let you forget it.
Exactly. You could do 1,000 nice things for them, but the one time you're late or forget something, you're in debt forever. It's like you're constantly being judged, and you'll never measure up. Someone told me about a friend who, randomly, brought up a time she gave him a ride to the airport over a year ago, like she was holding it over his head.
It's all about control. They use these favors and mistakes to make you feel guilty, like you owe them something. It throws the whole dynamic off.
It's not even just about favors. It's also about constantly bringing up past mistakes. They'll dig up stuff you've already apologized for, keeping you stuck in a cycle of guilt. But true friends are forgiving.
Real friendships aren't about keeping score. It's about generosity, grace, and understanding. It's about moving on from disagreements and mistakes without holding them over each other's heads. It's about wanting the best for each other, not about who's winning or losing.
Last one, that strange feeling you get when a friend starts copying everything about you.
It can be really unnerving. It might seem harmless at first. Maybe they start dressing like you or using your favorite sayings. But when it goes too far, it feels like they're trying to steal your identity.
Totally. They buy the same clothes, talk like you, suddenly have the same hobbies. At first, it's kind of flattering, but then it's like, okay, what's going on here? I read a story about someone whose friends started copying everything about her style, friends, everything. And then she actually accused her of being the copycat. It was wild.
It often comes from them not having a strong sense of self, so they try to adopt yours, especially if they admire you or see you as successful.
And then it can turn into this weird competition. They try to outdo you at being you. It's like they're using your own blueprint against you.
It's true. Of course, friends influence each other. It's normal. But when it's constant and over the top, it's not authentic. And it often comes from a place of insecurity or envy. Real friends are inspired by each other without losing themselves in the process.
Wow, that was a lot. If any of this resonated with you, it's okay. It's completely normal to recognize these patterns in your relationships.
Absolutely. It's a form of self-care, acknowledging these feelings and trusting your gut.
And remember, you are not too much for wanting genuine connection, respect, and support. Those are basic needs in any relationship.
You don't have to settle for anything less. You deserve to be surrounded by people who lift you up, not drag you down.
If you see any of these red flags in your own life, give yourself permission to step back. You don't have to keep pouring energy into relationships that leave you feeling drained or unappreciated.
Choose quality over quantity every time. A few real friends, the ones who are truly there for you, are worth more than 1,000 fake ones.
Exactly. Make space for those authentic connections, the ones that bring joy, support, and genuine laughter into your life.
So think about what resonated most with you today. And consider, what's one small step you can take towards creating those healthier, more fulfilling connections that you deserve?